Well, let's talk to Frank Lowenstein, U.S. Special Envoy for Middle East Peace under President Barack Obama. Frank, good to see you. Welcome. Just how significant is the Palestinian president's visit to China, do you think?
Well, I think on the one hand, it's first of all, thank you very much for having me. On the one hand, I don't think it's especially significant in the sense that it's, I think, Abbas's fifth state visit to China. China has long suggested they have an interest in helping to resolve this conflict. They've offered host conferences. They've put forth various peace plans. So I think on that count, it's more or less business as usual. But the context is different than it's been in the past, and I think that's what makes this significant. China's obviously looking to play a greater role in the Middle East. I think they see an opportunity here, building on the China, their role in the Iran, Saudi Arabia rapprochement to really increase their profile and visibility in the region. I think it's a good message for them to be on the side of the Palestinians for that purpose. So I can see what is in it for China, what's significant from China's end. And I think for the Palestinians, it's suggestive of the fact that they really don't have a lot of hope in the United States or in the conventional modes of trying to resolve the conflict that I was involved in under President Obama. So yeah, the substance is more or less the same, but the context is different.
What would a good outcome or a good agreement look like arising from this visit?
So I think the most likely outcome is a strong statement of support coming from President Xi and from the Chinese leadership. I think that would be very valuable to the Palestinians. I think they're looking to broaden out their base of support. Abbas was visiting with President Putin in October, and I think they're looking to the global south and some of the other countries who are non-traditional players in this conflict to provide them the support that they don't believe that they're getting from the United States and from the West as much as they would like to have. And so I think on that count, there's opportunities for President Abbas to bring more allies to the table. In terms of outcomes, though, I would be very surprised if anything emerged with respect to the peace process itself. I think you might see greater assistance from the Chinese to the Palestinians. They only give $2 or $3 million a year, which is relatively low. I think you may see some agreements with respect to trade. I know the Belt and Road Initiative is something the Chinese are trying to advance whenever possible. So I would think statements, trade agreements, expressions of support for building infrastructure and that kind of thing, those would be the most likely outcomes from this, rather than anything directly related to the peace process.
And I wonder to what extent do China's expanding economic interests in the Middle East, particularly its focus on energy resources and so on, shape its political engagement and influence in the Middle East?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge part of it. And I think that their relationship with Saudi Arabia is very much indicative of that. And I think that's really where you might find the most direct tie-in to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Saudi Arabia normalization with Israel is obviously a big priority for the United States. It's a big priority for Israel. And to the extent to which the Chinese can be on the side of the Palestinians there, can use their influence with the Saudi Arabians to make sure that Saudi keeps the Palestinian conflict front of mind when they're talking about a normalization with Israel. I think that would be probably an objective that President Abbas would have that would fit very much with what the Chinese are trying to achieve in the region.
Frank, good to see you. Thanks for coming on the programme. Frank Lowenstein, the U.S. Special Envoy for Middle East Peace under Barack Obama.